So, continuing from Harinamamrita Vyakaranam and doing Mishrapada Prakriya. So, I think we did go right last time. So, it's time for Hri Harane. Why don't you compile a primer sort of based on Harinamamrita Vyakaranam? I think you must be doing it, but still.
Yeah, I had actually started, and now I've been so busy, but it's definitely in my plans, as like a good way to get people into it and teach them a little bit, the vibhaktis and all of that, so that they can do it. Like I'm thinking a 6-month thing, and I would
6 months what?
I would like something that would, like, if you were to teach it, it would take about 6 months.
The whole thing?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like a primer.
Okay.
Yeah, like compiling that and having exercises in that. And so then the expectation I would have would be that after 6 months, people would be able to start with the sutras and have, a grasp in a way that like they could, when they get concepts introduced, they could understand stuff. Because, that was very good for me. I went through that year and a half before we started. And so it's been very easy for me to look at the things and understand the
I think more than you, it's busy. It was easy for me. Nothing to explain much.
Yeah, I wasn't asking, oh, Prabhu, what does this for bhakti mean? And what does that mean? And, it's just like, oh, I at least understand it in a basic way. And then when we come to Karaka, then all the details will come out. But, I can read and I have some base. So that's my hope, is to come up with something that will last 4 to 6 months, teach all of the bhaktis, at least the 4 main, important vidiling, the present tense, past tense.
Maybe like it can be like in 2 modules or something, 2 like separate volumes. So first one could consist of until Akhyata Prakaranam. So because I think that's like really too much to include everything in one primer. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it could be in sections, like you say. One primer, but different volumes, different, split like that. So maybe they take on one
this
side and then the other.
like this enjoyable Sanskrit grammar. You have this one?
Yeah, it's very good. It's more technical than I would do. That would be like maybe, because they split it into 3 parts. It would be really simple to start. Just like introducing the concepts and giving some simple sentences and like that. Slowly introducing the vibhaktis until we cover all 7 of them. Then giving, start with present tense, then give past tense, and, like that. And then introducing participles, so making the sentences a little more complicated. And then maybe towards the end, introducing some Kridanta pratyas, just so they can look at them like they've done here with this enjoyable Sanskrit grammar.
So you mean like the primer won't deal with sutras at all?
It will what?
It won't deal with the sutras at all.
Right? The only sutras that I would introduce would be, there are about 15 Sandhi sutras, which I find would be very useful to teach a basic way to understand Sandhi before they came and learned it the right way. And so, and I think that would be nice to like have somebody memorize 15 or 20 sutras in the course of the primer, so that they could then start getting their brain working in the direction of learning more sutras. I already have that part written out, actually, the way the Sandhi would work. And that's actually, I remember telling you, it's inspired by this book, this enjoyable Sanskrit grammar, because she did this Arjuna Uvacha, Sandhi, and all these things. So I've done those, but with a couple of Jiva Goswami sutras and with devotional examples. And so I think those will be really useful, because Sandhi is so complicated for most people.
I have gone through quite a few primers, like both English and Hindi, but I really like the presentation here done in this enjoyable Sanskrit grammar.
Yeah, I agree.
Very simple language, nothing too complicated. So
yeah, and it's aimed right at getting you into Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. So we need the same thing, aimed right into Harinamamrita Vyakaranam. and then people can understand the value and see that. So yeah,
So
I'm
so
hoping
so
to
this
work on it.
so this enjoyable Sanskrit grammar is like 3 volumes, and one is the workbook.
Yeah,
So total 4 things.
yeah. So
So
I
maybe.
wouldn't do it the same way they've done it, because it's like I enjoy, for a student there needs to be a lot of examples, a lot of worksheets, things, exercises to do. And I've noticed one problem I have with primers is the pace is so fast. There's no reason not to go slower, and just have, a lot of exercises and let people work it out, and just make sure they're
Okay.
progressing week to week. Like a lot of primers, they'll say, okay, here's all 7 vibhaktis. They'll give you the first vibhakti, and then they'll give you the next 6 in the next lesson. And I don't understand why you wouldn't introduce them one at a time. And if somebody gets all of the vibhaktis in 2 months, that's great. Like that's really good progress. Why make them struggle and like try to make it faster? You know what I mean? It doesn't make much sense to me. So there was one primer. It's through these people called the Chitrapur Mutt. They did it's actually the first one I came across, and I have my problems with it. One thing I liked is they took a very slow pace in introducing concepts, and that was very helpful to me. And so I'm taking a little bit of that approach, a little bit of Meda Michika's approach here, and then in just kind of fusing it with some of the stuff from the sutras and aiming it ultimately at Harinama and Vyakaranam.
I mean, that would be great if we do that.
Yeah, it would be really good, and I'd really appreciate as it comes out your input, Peru, and how you think and what we can do
I
to
mean,
change it.
sure. I mean, because nowadays, if we get a primer, it's really good.
Yeah, and especially because people want to see that, they're intimidated by the sutras, so they want to see that you're also giving that way, and they want to see those two methods kind of merged. They want
Yeah.
to see how they connect, and they don't want to hear, oh, you'll just learn all the sutras before you read anything. you know so yeah, I think it would be really useful for any of us that are trying to teach and want to get in. Anyone you're teaching already.
Yeah, that's why like I'm facing this problem of sutra style and having no idea at the first and starting with the sutras uh, suddenly, so they become
Yeah.
afraid, scared.
Yeah, I remember just honestly wondering how Ashwin and Vijay would do. Vijay had a little more experience, but I was just wondering, like, how would it work if you have no capability at all to do the sutras. And I was curious, but I had my expectations, and it seemed to kind of bear out that way, at least with Ashwin Prabhu. It's really, yeah, it's hard. All of this stuff is so abstract if you don't know what you're dealing with, and you're not 5, and your parents can't just say, oh, you're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Like one devotee, she like directly said, like messaged me a few weeks back that she studied like Sandhi, and then Prabhu, I don't see any point in studying Sanskrit grammar at all. So I don't know, why shall I continue? So I'm leaving. I was like, okay, bye.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, is people don't even have a
But being a
conviction
teacher,
as to why,
yeah, that's one thing.
because they
So
hear
that's
this
why that's
Samskrita
why
stuff.
if that's why if you remember, you called me for the very first time in December. So I don't know if
Mhm.
you remember that. So I was like, why do you
Yeah.
want to study? And
Yeah,
all.
for sure, for sure. And that's why I was like, Prabhu, I'm not coming to you. Like, I didn't think I want to study yesterday. It's been a year and a half, and I really want to do this. And so I didn't want to waste your time. I wouldn't have
No,
wasted your time like that.
Miss, that day I was really like, oh, I don't want anyone just to waste my time. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was really in the mood of dejection. I mean, I would have just said no, really. But when I talked to you, and I was like, okay, this Prabhu seems like serious. Okay, let's see. So and here we are, surprisingly. So
yeah. Yeah, it's something I've also come to see, is the impetus has to be on the side of the student. They really have to want it. The teacher can't be the driver of the thing and of the relationship. The student has to want the thing and constantly be coming and saying, please, teach me, help me. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yeah. And that's hard to find these days, especially with Sanskrit, because a lot of people with grammar, they think, oh, you don't really need it. You know, all the Western way people are saying, oh, well, you just learn how to read and grammar is not important. And then Sanskrit Bharati is saying, oh, just speak it, you know, grammar is
Yeah.
not that important. You just need to learn. So then they hear all of that and they think, oh, I'm trying so hard. But why? Is there really a point? All these other people tell me it's not that important. But then if you examine the abilities of those other people, they're not that great, you know? They're not able to like pick up a text and just read it. You know, they're not able to just really understand concepts and things. So it's like a different thing,
Hmm.
you know? It's a different thing that you're going for.
Yeah. Okay, bring Harane to take remove steel. Harati and Harate. So this is Ubhayapadi, that's why it's Atmapada Kartrivachya. Harate. Harati, Harate, Ityadi. And then Hriyakta Dip, it's Anit, so Dhato Puramat, Silbhuteshe, Ishantasya Vrashnindra Sau Parapade, and Astasya Bhavid Disivo, Harshit. Sa becomes Sh. How?
Ishvara Hari Mitra, Kakemya
Hare
Pratyaya
Mitra. Yeah.
Varijisasya. Yeah.
Hare Mitra. Aharshit. Aharshit, Aharshtam, Aharshu, ityadi. When says Kapila by Ridvaya Vishnu Janante Shuddhavacha Vaishnavadi Sikama Palau Kapila Vatmupade Gamestu Va, we get the following form. So, Hri Ititta, Dhatapurvamat Silbhute She, and then this is Kapila by the sutra. So, Ahrita. I think we did this one. Looks like.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think we did. I'm definitely doing them in my Enki. So I either inputted them early or we did them. I think we did them.
So,
I think we
Ahrita.
stopped at Hasya Jonrasya or maybe just after
Okay.
that.
No, we did Jahara. If you remember, I said Jahara.
Yeah, we did Jahara. Yeah.
Yeah, we did
Yeah,
this
you
one.
said Jahara.
Okay,
Prasade
it's
Jahara.
so this is Bhaja Sevayam. So Bhajati, Bhajate Ityadi, and Babhaja. So Uddhavarama Vrishndra Nrusinghe, and Dhatu Duruchana Dokshasana Yangshu, Harikadavas Harigamno Haribhoshasya Harigadavasya.
Did we do this one also?
Looks like.
Because we did these pranadis, remember? And this is one of those that, because it's a pranadi, it has yeah, we did these as well. Maybe, I think we stopped at Ranj or Shri. We didn't do Shri. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't Shri. Shrink Sevayam. So Shri Yuktadip. This is Ubhayapadi. So Shrayati, Shrayate, Ityadi. Shriyate. Atmapada Karmani. Shriyate. How will it become Trivikrama? What was that sutra? Shriyate. Like in Giyate. Vamanasya.
That is
Krit Krishna Dhatu ke Krit Krishna Dhatu ke tarah ya pratyay.
Vamanasya Trivikrama Krishna Dhat Ketra Ya Pratyay.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So Vamanasya Trivikrama Krit Krishna Dhatu ke tarah ya pratyay, and by that it will be Shriyate in Atmapada Karmani. Then Bhutesha Shri Yuktadip Dhatu Puramat, and we'll get Ni Shri Drusnu Kamibhyam Bhutesha Kartari.
Yeah.
So, and then Chatusanasya Yuvau Sarveshware, right? Dhatu Chatusanasya Yuvau Sarveshware. And we get Shriya, Iya, IY, and then Dhatu Duruchana Dhokshara Sannang Yang Shu. Nara Vishnu Jananavadi Shishyate Shauri Shirastastu Satataha. What does that mean? Shauri Shriskastu Satata?
That we keep the Shauri if there's a, or we keep the Sattvataha. Shauri Shiraskastu Sattvataha. So Nara Vishnu Jananam Adi Shishyate. If there's a Sattvata after, then we actually
Keep sh-
we keep the Sattvata.
Okay.
Is it? Where do we see that being applied though?
I think we didn't come across any example right till now.
Well,
Looks
we
like.
have one with a Pusputa, remember?
Yeah,
Puspota.
yeah.
So that's the example that's
Yeah, we
given when
had
the
that.
sutra comes. But is it being applied here?
Um,
I don't think so. This is
no,
just
no, because
Vish.
this is not Shatvata, no? Ram
Yeah,
is not
this is
Shatvata.
just this is just Nara Vishnu Jananam Adi Shishyate.
Naravishnu. So Ashishriyat. Then Ranjarage. So Ranj युक्त तिप शब कृष्ण धातु के शब कृष्ण धातु के
Yeah.
and
And
then
then Dansharanju
575
Shanjasonjam
is
Nasyaharaha.
Shapi.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Dansh
Nasyaharaha Shapi.
Ranj Shanja Sanjam Nasya Haraha Shapi. We started off with the declension of Bhu today in the other batch. So like we discussed around
Oh,
15 sutras today because they were like all small, beginning with Pit Prithu, all those
yeah.
sutras. So it was just a reading like Pit Prithu, Kit Kapila, this and that. So we did like the Kartri, like Bhavati Bhavata Bhavanti, Bhavasi Bhavata, till Avamo, that one. So it was like around 15-20 sutras. So one devotee at last, Prabhu, so fast.
Yeah, I remember that also. It's intimidating, but then you realize, oh, that's only because all
But
these things needed to be
but my point
introduced.
is, no, the point is if I finish, like let's say with that Pit Prithu Kit Kapila, doing those 5 sutras, I could just finish in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Then you will say,
because you don't do anything
no.
with them. There's some sutras, that you don't do anything with them. You
So
just-
yeah. So both ways, I am stuck.
yeah, it's definitely. I'm seeing the use in definitely anyone I teach. I'll teach them how to memorize things so that they can easily get 20 or 30 sutras a week memorized and have them ahead of the curve so that they're not trying to apply something they're trying to memorize. So it's already memorized, and then they can try to apply it. That's because that for me, that makes it super easy. If I make sure that I already memorize the sutras the week before we're going to apply them, then I'm only worried about the information that I'm using. I'm not worried about like, oh God, I don't even have that memorized yet, and I'm trying to make a declension. So I'm realizing that.
So Rajati ityadi. Ranjayuktate. So
Yeah,
this
Krishna ke
is,
Bhava Karma.
yeah, that is there.
And then Anirametam Vishnu Janantanam Udavana Ramahara Kamsara. So we delete na by that because this is a
Yeah.
sorry.
Niramita Vishnu Janata Nam. So Rajyate. I'm actually waiting for Kridanta. I really like Kridanta.
I'm also so excited about that because it's going to give that's like 3/4 of the words that we read are Kridantas. And
Yeah.
then, Tadita is just an extension of Kridanta basically.
Yeah,
And so I'm so excited in my reading to start to be able to just see, oh, this is that pratyaya, this is that pratyaya.
Then Yaj Deva Puja Sangati Karan Danishu, to worship, sacrifice, to meet, to give. Any example of yaj in the sense of meeting? Sangati karana. Yaj.
I can't think of something immediately.
Like worship, sacrifice to give, we can like it's there, but to meet.
Yeah.
So yajati, yajate ityadi. Then vachi swapi yajadinam sankarshanah kapile. Vach, nishwapa and the yajadis take sankarshana when a kapila pratyaya follows. So kapila pratyaya follows. So yajadis are yajadeva puja sangati karanadaneshu. Duvapa bijatantu santane vah prapane वेंग तंतु संताने वेंग तंतु संताने देन वेंग संवरणे वेंग स्पर्धायाम शब्दे च वद व्यक्तायाम वाची वस निवासे टू औषधति वृद्ध्यो यज युक्त ते. So we get, so kapila sankarshana happens here. Vachi swapi jadinam sankarshana kapile. So sankarshana is sa para sarveshwara yavaranami hri rama desha sankarshana sangha. So it becomes ya with the sarveshwara, the next sarveshwara becomes I rama ijyate. So that's how
Yeah.
we get ijyate.
Interesting.
Ijyate.
This is also how we get uchyate, yeah?
Yes, I think that's from Vach.
Uchyate, yeah.
But do we don't have Vach here.
Might be in a different,
Maybe
might be in
different.
a different, what am I looking for? Different gana. But similar thing. It's definitely sankarshana happening to va because of a kapila. Vach, yate, uchyate.
Even Ukta from Vach. Ukta.
Oh, I meant to share with you, Peru. There's a really nice website that a friend of mine sent me, and some Panini and grammarian people came up with it. It's all in it's in Hindi, but that'll be easy for you. But it's basically a database of declensions with all the possible options
Is
and
it that-
optionalities.
Is it ashtadhyayi.com? Haribol? Hare Krishna. Prabhu, I can't hear you.
Just one second, I'm just looking for it. I've got my mic mostly muted because this cafe is very loud.
Oh, okay. I know one, which is Ashtadhyayi.
It's this, I just put it in the chat, sanskritabhyasa.com, but it's all in, I've seen ashtadhyayi.com as well, but I
Oh,
think
this Sanskrit Abhyas.
yeah,
I
it's
use this
really
one
good.
actually.
It's really good, I'm using it to check whenever I find something that I'm like, in the book, because sometimes there are ones that I'm like, I don't understand how that form happened. And a lot of times it's nice because what I think it should be is actually correct, or it'll give
Actually,
different optionalities.
For your information, I think you can also change the font here.
Oh, nice. Well, that's really good.
But I think it's for like some parts, not for everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Anyway, I found what I need because I just go to the Kriya Pad. You go to lists, and then you go to Kriya, verbs. Kriya Pada. That's
No, and
then
how
you
do you find it? Like
click lists and click
Okay.
verbs,
okay,
and you see now there's a little search bar right here. So
Here.
you type in the dhatu, and then it'll give you. This is a list of all the dhatus, and then they have all the declensions in Parasmaipada, Atma, Atmanepada, everything. If it's Ubayapadi, it gives all of them. It's really good. And it's quite accurate. There are some that it's really good. One thing I
was
noticed
doing-
Go ahead.
I was doing Sandhi practice through this website, so I saw many mistakes here.
Mm. Yeah, I use some of their exercises for this, although I don't really I like my Yankee cards better than their exercises. But I found it as a nice cross reference for the verb tables
Okay.
because, like I said, sometimes it's given me ways to see, oh, okay, the form that I'm thinking is correct versus the one they have in the book here. Because they never finished editing this, so we found mistakes. Like what was it that remember Asmrishtas? I was wondering why
Yeah.
C wasn't deleted. So here they have it listed as Asmritaha because there's no reason not to delete C by Vamana Vaishnavabhyam Sedra Vaishnavena Tuta.
Oh, they give it like that?
Yeah. If you type in Smri,
One minute. We need to type in Devanagari, right?
yeah, if you click that little keyboard, it makes it easy.
Okay. So we type Sa of this one. And then where is that? Re.
Just to the left. There you go.
It was Spree. Which one?
Vladi. Either one of those will work. I think it's that one. And then Lunglakara Atmanepada. Yeah, that'll give you both of them. See? Asmarishtaha, asmarishtaha, asmaritaha. And they give you the inverted option and the regular it option. And then, so it's really good. I found this, yeah.
And in our Navamrit Vyakaranam, it was Asmrishtha.
Yeah, that's the one Matsya Avatar put. But there's no way to keep that, And Jiva Goswami doesn't write that. It's not in the Vritti. It's just a mistake when they were going through making the tables. One thing I noticed is they have some mistakes, not on this particular one, but with this Ishvara Harimitraha Karebya Sitam Videsha Dakshinanam Tasyardaha, they're applying it in places where we wouldn't apply it if you look at some verbs. But other than that, everything checks out pretty well. And it gives some, and I like it because anyway, I know the sutras, so I'm also not going to take anything from here that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But it's another good resource to like double check or see. And with a couple things, my suspicion was correct. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is actually the form. So it's really nice. I find it a good, whoever did this, this is a lot of work to sit here and work these things out, make this big table. It's really good.
What is Brahmi Lipi? Oh, what kind of Lipi is that?
I think it's an ancient one.
Maybe, yeah. Anyhow, this is Mani, Sharada Siddham. What is Siddham?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. Looks like
amazing,
ancient Bangla. Kind of looks like
yeah.
Bangla.
Look, yeah. Actually. And what else? Grantha comes out to be. I mean, even just to type these fonts.
Wow.
This looks like Urdu. All looks like jalebi.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit like Tamil.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, I've just seen it here and there.
This is like Bangla.
Yeah, this is like Bangla.
Sharada.
More like Devanagari, more simple and like straight. Yeah, even Ga is there. It's the same.
Devanagari is best.
For me, that's for sure.
Ijjate, and then Yajyaktita Bhuteshwara Karmani. Yak is there, then the current sutra, Vachisapiya Jadinam Sankarshana Kapile. And then what was that sutra? At Prasange. Vishnendra Prasangamatre.
Yeah, Vishnendra Prasangamatre.
What was the beginning?
Sarveshwaradir Vishnendra Prasangamatre.
Sarveshwaradir Vishnendra Prasangamatre and Aijyata. Then Yajyukta Dip, Dhatu Puramat, Sarvuteshe, Ayatsi, 8, Astasvami Desipoho, and then this Sraj, no, Chasho Raj Yaj. Chasho Raj Yaj is applied, and Shah, and Shadhoka say, then Ka, and Ishwara Harimitra Kangnebhya Pratyantasa Sho, Ayakshit. Okay, before that, even this, it becomes Vishnendra also, na? This is Vishnu Janantanam Anitam, Vishnendra Soparapade.
Yeah.
Ayakshit. Ayashtam, Ja becomes Sha, and okay, here C is deleted. Vamana Vaishnavnam Sirharo Vaishnavi. Ayashtam. Yakshit, Ayashtam.
What Shashara Jaj Vraj, and then
Yes.
Satvata or Shat Parasyata Vardiyukta Sija. Ayashtam. How do we get 1 second? How do we get the Krishnendra there?
Where?
Atmapada in Yaj plus oh, it's Tam. Sorry, I was thinking that this was the because they gave Ayashta Ayakshatam. So I was I understand now. They just didn't do any of. They just gave the table. They didn't actually work out the Atmapada ending.
Then Vachyadinam Grihadinam Chanarasya Sankarshno Dhokshaje.
Oh, there it is. Vachi.
So the nara of Vachyadis and Grihadis take Sankarshana when an Adhokshaja Pratyaya follows. Like Uvacha and all we have.
Yeah, and Uchyate and
Uchit.
like what?
No, this is for Adhokshaja. So
that's interesting that Vach wasn't included in the previous one.
Yeah.
Oh, so it must just have some because it must be in a different Gana then. And each or Yaj is just a Vachyadi, but it's in first Gana. That must be the reason. There's some other rules.
in Amrita, in the previous sutra, it says both Vach Paribhashane and Vach. Oh, actually, Vach is Swapiya Jadi Naam, na? Vach is mentioned here. Vach is here.
Yeah, that's why, because we were just looking at the Yajadis, but Vach
is mentioned here. So both Vach Paribhashane and Vach that replaces Brahmuttam Vachi are accepted. So yeah, it's there. So Vachadinam Grahadinam Chanarasya Sankarshana Dhokshaji, when Adhoksha Pratyaya follows, the nara of Vachadis and Grahadis takes Sankarshana. So Grahadis are all the sutras, all the dhatus mentioned in Sutra 626. That is coming ahead. Grahi Jyavahi Ityadi. And Vachadis mentioned in the previous sutra, including the Yajadis. Vachi Sopi Yajadi. So Yaj Yukranal, Yaj, and that Ya becomes E by Sapara Sarveshwara Yavaranavi Viramadesha Sankarshana Sangyaha. Iyaj. Ijatuhu. Yaj Yukta Atus. So it becomes E, Ij, by this current sutra. And then Dhatar Durachana Dhoksha Sanangam Shu Ijatuhu. And then one minute. there was one sutra na, that iya uva.
Do you think Nared Utor Eva Vekarmaketana Sureshure?
Yeah,
Or
nare dutor yuva.
Eva
What was that?
Ekatmaketana Surveshure. Nared Utor
Yeah,
Eva
so this is,
Vekarmaketana Sureshure.
yeah, this is interesting. This is not ekatmaka itara. This is ekatmaka.
Yeah, so they combine.
Yeah, otherwise, if it was something else, then it would have been e.
Yeah. Like if it underwent Govinda and we had E plus H, then it would be a E Yejatu.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
A is not that. I think that was the example. Yeah, because it was in Uk. So we had Uvokatu.
Yes, uvoka.
Or Ukatuhu, but we had Uvoka. Yeah.
So nare dutor yuva. Which is number for that?
I don't know. The numbers I don't use unless they come up a lot.
Yeah. So nare dutor yuva sarveshu. That one. Okay. So ejatuhu, ejuhu, and here it comes actually that nare dutor yuva. Ekatmaka itha.
Is it?
So yaj yukt thal. So yaj itha. It is inserted. This is 504.
Yeah, I don't think it happens though. Is it? Because we just have E plus Yaj because of some Karshana.
Oh yeah. I thought it was Yajida. So sahaja ramavatashcha tadrishant. By that it is optional inserted.
We have two options, yeah.
Yajitha and one is Yashtha, because it's that it will be Sraj Dish Trish Ritvij Ushne? No. Chashoraj Yaj.
Chashoraj Praj.
Chashoraj
Brush, Vrishcham, Sho, Vishnukante, Vaishnavicha.
Yashtha. Yaja Ijatu Iju Ityadi. Ije Ijate Ijire Ityadi. Yaj Yuktayat, then again Vachaswapiya Jadinam Idyat. Then Vapati, Upyate. So this Vap Yuktate, Vachaswapiya Jadinam Sankarshana Kapile, Upyate. Vahati, Vahate, and I think Uhyate. Yeah, Uhyate again. Uhyate, actually even the word Uvaha, to marry. So, or to carry. To marry or to carry, same thing. Then Vaha Yuktadip, Dhatu Purmat Sirhuteshe, Vishnujanatana Manitam Vishndaso Parapade, Haseda Nahodaha Dade Siddhatraga, that one. And Shadoka Se, Ishvara Mitra, Avakshit. And then Vaha Yuktatam, so here we have that sutra. Sirhuteshe, Vaha Yuktatam, Vamana Vaishnavanu Serana Vaishnavanatirah, and Hasya then Dhatur, no, what was that? Harigoshat
Tadur Hoda Varjan.
Shat Parasya,
Dasya Harothe Purvasya Trivikramascha.
Sahi Vahor
What is this? Sahi Vahor Aramasya Oramo Dhalope.
Dhalope, Avodham. And Avodha Ityadi. Then Vaha Yuktranal becomes Uvaha because of the sutra. Vachadinam, Grahadinam Cha, Narasya Sankarshano Dhoksha J. Uvaha. Uhatu. Ityadi. Yeah. Then, okay, we'll continue this tomorrow. Weighing tantra. So we'll continue this tomorrow, Prabhu. Weighing tantra.
Okay, sounds good.
And yeah, tomorrow, first of all, we'll complete Sridhar Swami's commentary first of all. Then we'll
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Chapter 5.
Yeah, I'm hoping once we finish the Akyata Prakarana, then the pace should change a little bit. And so maybe I'll start working on the primer again then. Because right
Mhm.
now, there's so much, it's just gonna keep building. It's like a minimum of 2 hours and more like 3 or 4 with the homework basically from
Mhm.
Akyata Prakarana. So, but after
I'm just
that, I
worried.
think pace will come
I'm
back.
just Yeah, I'm just worried for the other group how they will cope up with the Akyata.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Because
guess. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean the applications and all, so it's a bit more complicated than the Shabda Prakranam. So I'm just worrying how will they
Yeah,
manage.
and I mean, there's almost nowhere to apply them unless you're reading some of these very complicated kavyas that like kavya that are meant to apply them, you know.
Hmm.
And I plan afterwards to go in and look at some of those things and just, you know, try to find some, because a lot of these forms we're like never gonna see in the Puranas, you know. It's like,
Bhattikavam is a good one. I mean,
yeah,
for such
and I'm
rare
sure I'm
usages.
sure Gopal Champu also has a bunch of stuff because Jiva Goswami wrote it like that. So I intend to see if I can, find some practical application. But that's why Anki also, if I ever teach, I'll definitely teach with Anki and then just go at a pace where people can do it and like have an hour of homework a night, something like that. Because I know nobody is going to really do what I'm doing. So to